You, man. Yo, what is up? Y'all, this is Earth Smack the Mad Scientist. This is the Orange Finish Show live, the AEW Revolution post show, if you will. Okay. Phenomenal show. Obviously, this is the first show of the year for AEW. I don't have any complaints about this show. I mean, I have absolutely, positively I have nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing to complain about, man. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Let's talk about MJF and Bryan Danielson. He has officially shut all the critics up. Everybody has said he can't wrestle, he can't do this. He hasn't wrestled a 60-minute match before. Bryan Danielson is going to out-wrestle this man. It's going to be a terrible Iron Man match. He can't last 60 minutes. Yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. He shut up all the naysayers. I'm going to tell you right now, that probably has been one of the best Iron Man matches I have ever seen. Like, it kept me vested for over 60 minutes. Now, not only did he go 60 minutes, he went overtime. He went overtime against Bryan Danielson. And on top of all that, they kept the crowd engaged. If you really think about it, with the Iron Man match, an Iron Man match is like one of the hardest things to actually, hold on to, keep the engagement with the crowd. That's definitely a hard thing to do. So, I got no complaints. I got zero complaints. I got zero complaints about the match itself. The only complaint I probably would have is the fact that if Bryan Danielson would have won that match, I'm like, man, it would have been for nothing. It would have been for nothing if Bryan Danielson would have won that match. I mean, the right guy went over. Plain and simple, the right guy went over. And it pissed a lot of people off because Bryan Danielson was this close on winning the AEW World Championship. This close. But the fact he went overtime and it was so many close finishes and everything like that, you didn't know who was going to win that match truly. And that is the magic of professional wrestling. And that I really, really do like that aspect of it. I don't like the fact where you kind of got an idea on who already going to win that match. Or the outcome of it. So, with that being said, going into this, I'm like, MJF's going to win this match. Bryan Danielson's going to beat the shit out of him. Actually, they beat the shit out of each other to the point where, heelish tactics was at its finest throughout the match, where Bryan Danielson was at a disadvantage during the match. So, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was this close to believing that Daniel Bryan, I keep calling him Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, was gonna tap out MJF in those last seconds. But once I knew they was gonna go into overtime, I was like, all right, we got something. We got something going on here. So definitely I'm not big in like star ratings or whatever, but if I had to do a star rating for MJF and Bryan Danielson, I would definitely give it a 5-star rating. It is definitely up there. It is up there. And I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off when I say this. A lot of people are going to say, hey, man, you fanboying, you AEW mark, and blah, 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 blah. It's up there. It's up there with Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels when it comes to Iron Man matches. I mean, there's not that many Iron Man matches out there, official Iron Man matches, to compare it to. Because in our timeline, the most notable one is Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. That is the most notable one. We've seen matches that went over 60 minutes, but it wasn't really an Iron Man match. It had a 60-minute time limit, and they just went that hour to either a draw or what have you. That's just what it was. So, I mean, if you're going to compare the Iron Man match to what's going on with Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels Iron Man match, I will say, man, this match tonight might be better. It kept me engaged. Man. Hey, listen, Izzy Verse said, hey, he asked me if I just finished watching the pay-per-view. Yes, I just finished watching the pay-per-view, a phenomenal pay-per-view. I go back and look at the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels Iron Man match. I actually went back to look at it, and a phenomenal match. And I look at other matches that lasted for an hour, and some of those other matches going up were a little bit more entertaining. Not taking anything from Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels at all. But this Iron Man match from tonight, it was a true heel versus babyface type of deal. You know, MJF is the salt of the earth. You know he gonna do dirty tactics. You know, there was no interference. That's one thing. There was no interference in this 60-minute Iron Man match. Not at all. No interference whatsoever. It was strictly MJF, strictly Bryan Danielson, and MJF is coming out on top. I mean, I couldn't written that better myself. I'm not a professional wrestler, writer, or creative team, but I couldn't written it better myself. And I think I know MJF proven a lot of people wrong. If this man can go 60 plus minutes with Bryan Danielson, then imagine what he can do with anybody else. If I had the pencil, MJF will be the champion going into 2024, because that's when the bidding war is. So I would have him beat Kenny Omega. I would have him beat Adam Cole, baby. All the fan favorites, I would have him beat them all. And then you have someone that he's beaten way in the beginning beat him, like Ricky Starks, which leads me to the first match between the opening match with Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. I'm going to tell you right now, absolute Ricky Starks is a future world champion. Hands down. I mean, I've watched this man since the NWA days. This dude is phenomenal. He is great on the mic. He can go toe-to-toe with MJF on the mic. You got to put a rocket to this man. And over the course of this year, 2023, you make Ricky Starks your guy. Make him that guy to beat MJF. Because the story written itself. I mean, they can go toe-to-toe on the mic. You can just give them the mic. Let them do whatever they want to do. And then when you have that match happen, you have Ricky Starks go on top. That would be the guy, my pick, that will go over on MJF. But have MJF go over on all the veterans. I mean, Claudio Castagnoli, he's another one. And Jon Moxley, that's another notch in his belt. So honestly, he's beaten, wait a minute, I'm just thinking about this. He's beaten Jon Moxley. He's beaten Wheeler Yuta. He's beaten Bryan Danielson. He has beaten 3 members of the Blackpool Combat Club. So Claudio is next, right? I would think Claudio will be the next guy to actually face MJF. But Claudio is the ROH World Heavyweight Champion. So put that on the back burner. Until he drops that world title from the Ring of Honor side, I would kind of hold that off for a while. But I don't know who MJF's next opponent would be. I'm very interested in finding that out. But if it was up to me, I would probably put Kenny Omega up in there and just have him face MJF, because that's another fan favorite, right? So have MJF go over. But hey, MJF did his contractual obligation. You know, he done his due diligence. He did 60 plus minutes with Bryan Danielson. Now, again, going back to Ricky Starks in his match against Chris Jericho, a phenomenal match, a great opening match. Honestly, I would have Ricky Starks be the man that beats MJF. I would definitely have him beat MJF. No questions asked. And moving on to the next match, which I feel like, minus the 60-minute Iron Man match, I feel like I'm skipping over matches here, but the trios tag team match between the Elite and the House of Black. Finally, Malachi Black, Buddy Murphy, I always going to call him Buddy Murphy, And his name escapes me right now, but this is say House of Black. House of Black actually gets Trios Championship gold. They beat the Elite. I thought the Elite was gonna go over. Just by how the match was flowing and how things was going. Brody King. Yeah, Brody King. I'm so glad that the House of Black got championship gold. I mean, it's well deserved. And I hope they hold those trios titles for a long time. And I hope a worthy trios team will be the one that beats them. But they're going to have to put that together. I mean, that's got to happen. But they got to hold those titles. Now, you ask the question, what's next for Kenny Omega and the Bucks? Will the Bucks go chase after the tag team titles? Because now they're back in the tag team title picture. If you haven't noticed, AEW has done away with the ranking system. I've noticed that there's no numbers beside the names, like the marquee names anymore. They got the record there for the year, but they don't have rank 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, in a sense, they were kind of following those principles, but then again, they kind of got away from it. I kind of like the idea of the ranking system. I like the fact that it was a little different from the WWE, rematch clauses and such. But back to House of Black and Malachi Black, I really do like the fact that House of Black got the trios titles. It was a phenomenal match. If it wasn't for the 60-minute Iron Man match, I would feel like that was the match of the night. I feel like that was the match of the night. It was a hard-hitting thing, a hard-hitting match. Everybody, I don't think they ever met each other. And you saw how the crowd was. You see how the crowd was reacting to Kenny Omega and Murphy. Kenny Omega and Malachi Black. Like, those two matches right there in your pocket, just waiting to be pulled. You can have those one-on-one matches. You got to pull it right now. If it was up to me, I would not pull it. I would not pull those matches right now. Just keep that in your back pocket for a later date. Wait till there's a title on the line. Wait till there's a feud or something like that. Maybe the Elite want to go up against House of Black one more time. Maybe they want to invoke their rematch clause because, hey, the Acclaimed, invoked their rematch clause, which I thought there was no rematch clause. And once they said it on the mic a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, okay. So if you drop the title, you got a rematch clause now. I know anybody else picked that up, but I picked that up. So maybe the Elite and House of Black go at it one more time, and House of Black goes over again, which that's pretty much leaves House of Black over for other things going on. Now, the other match I was highly entertained by is a triple threat match between Jamie Hayter, Ruby Soho, and Saraya. Now, the storyline is that Saraya and Toni Storm are the outsiders, and they are running roughshod all over AEW Women's Division. If you're a homegrown women in the women's division and you didn't come from anywhere, you're the enemy. So Saraya and Toni Storm, in a sense, is like Hall and Nash. So they need a Hogan, though. Ruby Soho not really like the Hogan in a way, but what happened at the end of the match, because I noticed that they're doing a different little twist to the outsiders situation. There's no tag team match, and we got a mystery partner. We don't have that. They literally had a triple threat match where Jamie Hayter did go over. The right person did go over because Jamie is just. Notice what Tony Schiavone and the announcer said. That's our champion. That's our women's champion. Like, if you listen to the commentary about how they explain that she's our champion, that just puts more heat on the person that's going to take who's trying to take the title away from Jamie Hayter. So the match itself was really, really good. Now, what happened at the end of the match was very interesting because Saraya, attacked Jamie Hayter. Toni Storm goes crazy. She takes the camera. She smashes the camera. It was like anarchy out there, man. It felt like a rebellion. That what it felt like. It gave strong rebellion vibes. And once Toni Storm got in, you see Ruby in the corner sitting there chilling. She's not doing anything. And then she throws Toni and Saraya out. And okay, all right, Ruby chooses a side. She chose Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. All right, now they trust each other. Then, bam, right there and there. changed the whole dynamic, and she officially joins the Outsiders. With Toni Storm and Saraya. I know they're not officially called the Outsiders, but I just for the sake of argument, I'll call them that. So now you got Ruby, you got Toni, you got Saraya now, which honestly and truly it makes more sense. So now the lines has been drawn. Who else is going to join that core three women team? Who's going to join Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker? Like, will it be Riho? Will it be Nyla Rose? Or will Nyla Rose seemingly join the originals but end up joining the Outsiders? Like, that would also be pretty cool to see. So, I think as far as storytelling goes, I think this story can go on for a while. And if someone from the outside comes in and saves the day, I don't think it would resonate well with the crowd. Obviously, Mercedes Moné is kind of lingering out there, but I think it will take a homegrown talent to actually dismantle this outsider group. But this is in the beginning stages. It's larval stage. It's not like a butterfly yet. It's not floating around, but the story is slowly developing. And I think Revolution was a perfect place for that story to further develop, because we didn't know what was Ruby Soho's deal. That was the whole story. Which side she was going to take. Like, was she going to go with the originals, or was she going to go with the outsiders? You didn't know. And they did such a good job in blurring those lines because she attacked both parties equally. So you don't know, which team she was going to join. But in the end, she ended up joining the team. So, but yeah, as far as the women's locker room, I do wish, though, that Jade Cargill actually had a match at Revolution. I wish she had a match where she was defending her TBS title. But I feel like there's some bigger stuff on the horizon for her on who she's going to defend the title against. Now, going into the TNT title match. So, Wardlow and Samoa Joe. Wardlow and Samoa Joe. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know about this match. I mean, they had to follow up the Texas Death Match, which I'm going to jump into that. But with Wardlow and Samoa Joe, Wardlow winning the TNT title, back from Samoa Joe, beating Samoa Joe with his own chokehold, which was very, very interesting. There was a lot of shocking moments here, which that was one of them. Samoa Joe, he's out of there from his own chokehold. But now Wardlow is going to defend his TNT title against Powerhouse Hobbs. They teased it, saying this might be the shortest reign a TNT title holder could ever have. Okay, I get it. What if Wardlow really do drop that title on Wednesday? Like, what was that? What did that say to Wardlow? You know what I mean? Like, I really hate the word burial, because he didn't do anything to get buried. I mean, that word burial get thrown around so loosely, so easily, it loses its sense of meaning. So I would never say that. But I think at the height of what Wardlow was, he was such a fan favorite. He was such a, he's up there. You got somebody like Samoa Joe that's around him, and Samoa Joe, I feel like, sucked some of the popularity away from Wardlow for just being around Wardlow, because Samoa Joe is recognizable badass. That's just what he is. So if you got Ward Joe and you have Samoa Joe turn on Wardlow, the crowd is not really going to turn on Samoa Joe, just mainly because of who he is and what he represents. So they don't necessarily boo Wardlow, but I feel like the momentum kind of slowed down a little bit once he got involved with Samoa Joe. But, who would have thought that, though? Honestly. So now the feud with Samoa Joe and Wardlow is over with. Now Samoa Joe has a Ring of Honor TV title, so, he still got that to defend, right? I really don't know how I would do this because Powerhouse Hobbs has gotten momentum doing the Book of Hobbs, right? He's going after single titles and stuff like that. So would you have him beat Wardlow on Wednesday? Or would you have Wardlow beat Powerhouse Hobbs on Wednesday and put Powerhouse Hobbs back in the back again to work his way back up? So I don't know really how I would move that, which probably is the beauty part of AEW, because now you don't know what's going to happen. This might be the shortest reign. This might be somewhere along the lines of Wardlow maybe going after MJF, but still not necessarily winning that title. Only time will tell. The match is okay. The match is good. It had to follow up that epic Texas death match, that's what I'm jumping into now, between Jon Moxley and Adam Hangman Page. So that has been one of the most brutal, violent matches I have seen in a long time. I've seen foreheads get stabbed with forks. I've seen barbed wire everywhere. If you know how much you gotta hate somebody to wrap barbed wire around your own body to jump on the other person, how much you gotta hate that person? I mean, that match was epic. All I know is if Moxley taps out, he's going on vacation. This man deserves a vacation. You hear me? This man has carried AEW on his back during the best of times, during the worst of times. Like this whole situation that happened at All Out, he carried the company and he put the guy over in MJF. Like he done his due diligence. He keeping AEW is not failing at all. You know, he just kept AEW afloat to being the flagship bearer of AEW. And for that, I believe he deserves a vacation. I wouldn't look for him to be on TV on Wednesday. I look for this to be a moment for Adam Page, and the fact that John had Adam Page go over him. This is another chapter for Adam Page to go into. Whoever the next person he goes on a feud with, he's going in there shit hot. Like he is red hot. He made Jon Moxley tap out. He has beaten Jon Moxley twice. He made Jon Moxley tap out. Has that ever been seen in AEW? Has he ever tapped out in AEW? I don't think he has. Only one man able to do that, and that was Adam Hangman Page. That is a hat he can hang up on that wall. So with that type of momentum, I believe that Adam Page is another person that got that rocket ship strapped to his back. You got Ricky Starks, you got Jungle Boy, but staying on this Texas death match, this was a brutal Texas death match. I feel like the right guy went over. Jon Moxley didn't lose anything for losing this match, honestly. It was a shocker that he tapped, honestly, but I mean, what did it take for this man to tap out? He was choking with a metal chain around his neck. You know what I mean? Like that's what it took for him to to officially tap out. So if it took all that for that man to tap out, I say hats off to him. I mean, it was a great match. I mean, it was a brutal match. It's not for the faint of heart. That match wasn't for everybody. It was a car crash that was part of the card, but the right guy won. And I'm happy that Adam Page got that momentum back, because I feel like some of that momentum got lost during his first title run for whatever reason. I have no clue how and why that happened, but I feel like his momentum is back to where it is. Now, also with settling old grudges, Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Christian Cage. Now with Christian Cage, CM says, hopefully this feud is over. Yes, listen, that Texas Death Match, that feud is over. Like, there is no way you can continue that feud after what transpired in that match. There's nothing else you can do. Like, it's literally nothing you can do. That was a Texas Death Match where your man is down for a 10 count, and he wasn't even down for a 10 count. He was forced to tap out, which he never did before. So I think John is on vacation. You won't see him for a couple months or a few weeks or what have you. I think he's taking some time off and he's going on vacation with Renee. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think another feud that is over and done with is Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Christian. Finally, thank God this feud is over. Not saying I hate the feud because I really didn't. But I think this feud got put on hold mainly because Christian was hurt. He hurt his arm, and I feel like this feud would have been over last year if it wasn't for the injury. So with the final burial match, the right guy went over. Obviously, tonight was a match. Well, I'm sorry, tonight was a match. Tonight was a show for the young talent. Think about it. Ricky Starks get the dub, right? Jungle Boy Jack Perry gets the dub, right? Adam Hangman Page gets the dub, right? MJF gets the dub after 60 plus minutes of wrestling, arguably the best technical wrestler in the world today. He goes over. So I think with the Jungle Boy Christian match, that was a very good match in itself. And I'm glad that feud is over. And I hope it's over. I mean, I don't see anything else coming out from that, especially how Christian lost that match. You know, you shut the coffin and the coffin just dropped 6 feet under. So I think that's it. I think that's it for him. I think 2 feuds was over and done with tonight for sure. And that is Christian, Jungle Boy, and John Moxley, Adam Hangman Page. Obviously, House of Black gets the dub with the trio championships. Jamie Hayter being the young lady that she is, she retains. Now let's talk about the AEW Tag Team titles. Did you notice how silent the crowd went when the Guns retained their titles? There was no cheer. It's almost like you can hear a mouse piss on cotton because I listened to the crowd and it's like they was not reacting at all to the fact that the Guns retained their titles. They want the Acclaim to win those titles back so bad that when FTR came out, the energy came back into the crowd once FTR showed up after the match, which I'm so glad they showed up after the match. But here's the thing. Here's what I propose. I wouldn't have pulled the trigger on FTR quite yet because I feel like FTR should be the team that dethroned, the Guns, since that's kind of like a ongoing storyline. I would kind of hold off on them just a little bit. Like, just have the Guns face another babyface team that you may like and have the Guns beat them. But you got, but now that we know that FTR is the next opponents for the Guns, I dare say, have the Guns win over FTR. Again. I'm just saying. I feel like, with heels, you pay to see them get their ass beat. You pay to see them lose. But whenever time they don't lose, it makes you mad, but you keep paying money to see them eventually lose. So, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think FTR actually going to, win the AEW Tag Team titles. I think that's what's going to end up happening. The Guns had their run, however short that was. They beat 4 other teams. I mean, that wasn't lying when they cut that promo, that post-match promo. I mean, hell, they did beat FTR. They did beat the Acclaim. They did beat Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. They did beat Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. They did beat the Acclaim again. And they beat FTR. They weren't lying. They weren't lying. CM says, I agree. Keep the Guns upsetting fan favorites. See, right, we here. We are here. That would keep people playing money. Keep paying money to see them lose. And I said the same thing about MJF. Have him hold that title until 2024. Because that makes things even more interesting. What MJF always says, the bidding war of 2024, right? So, why not? What do you got to lose? Nothing. Got nothing to lose. I mean, it worked for Roman Reigns. He been holding the titles for like 2+ years. But that's neither here or there. Now I would ask the audience, the listeners out here, what would you do with Wardlow? Now that he has a TNT title. And where the hell is Miro? Where is he? Like, what are you going to do with this man? Now, if I had the pencil, because since we haven't seen Miro in months upon months, I would have Miro take the All-Atlantic Championship away from Orange Cassidy. I would have Miro be the one to beat Orange Cassidy. That way he got championship gold around his waist. And you can see him on TV every week. I mean, and defend the title anywhere he goes. Obviously, Adam Cole is wrestling towards a singles championship. But you know that's going to take a while. And there is I'm not sure when his debut is. Adam Cole's debut. But I don't know when his re-debut is. I want to say it's on Wednesday. This coming Wednesday. Unfortunately, I don't think Powerhouse Hobbs is going to win the TNT title, although that would be pretty cool to see. Now, I did read some reports about the main event that, by MJF and Bryan Danielson. So when MJF was in the crowd, he took a cup of water or whatever out of this young lady's hand, and he dashed it on her son and came back into the ring. And I was like, oh shit, what is going on? So my first thought is that's a plant. But according to reports, I'm not sure how true this is. I got to do some more research on this. They're saying that was not a plant. That was actually legitimate, and the kid was very upset. AEW officials went over there and consoled the kid. Even Amanda Huber went to go sit with the kid throughout the match, throughout that main event. But that shows you how much of a dick MJF is. I mean, that is true heel fashion. I don't know no heel that does that, with the exception of Bully Ray, of course. I don't know another heel that does that. You love to hate this guy. You want to see this guy lose so bad, but I think he's proven that he is so damn good. I mean, if you can wrestle 60 plus minutes with Bryan Danielson, I don't think there's nothing else for him to prove. You can no longer say the man can't wrestle, because he wrestled toe to toe with this man for 60 plus minutes. It's crazy. CM says, my grandma could best Orange Cassidy in a street fight. He's very played out. Wardlow and Hobbs, hopefully Hobbs wins. You know, with Orange Cassidy, I don't really think he's like played out in a sense. I think he is definitely a crowd favorite. He is an AEW original, and his gimmick has worked phenomenally well with the crowd. Like, he has some pretty good matches, and he can move very well in the ring. So, I would say the person I would have him lose to would be Miro. That would be the person I would have him lose to. I wouldn't put Miro back in the TNT title picture, because right now the TNT title is like, it's not in flux, but you got a feud going on over here. So, and especially I wouldn't have Miro show up if Wardlow beats Hobbs, and have Miro shows up after, and Miro takes the title from Wardlow. Then it's kind of like the title is in flux at that point. But I would have Miro come back to take the All-Atlantic Championship for Orange Cassidy, and just have him defend it, through and through. But as far as like Revolution is concerned, overall as a pay-per-view, I think it was a very, very, very good pay-per-view. You definitely get your money's worth. When you pay $50 for an AEW pay-per-view, you're gonna get your $50 worth. Period. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get what you pay for. I can't count any point in time where I paid money for a pay-per-view for AEW and I was disappointed, because they know full well you only got like a handful of pay-per-views a year. You don't have pay-per-views every single month, so you're gonna get what you pay for. I also like the fact there were no guest appearances. They relied on the talent that they already had. So only time will tell. I would say I don't know where Kenny and the Bucks gonna go from here. That makes it even more interesting. That's another wrinkle in the storyline. What's next for MJF? We don't know. What's next for Wardlow? We don't know. Adam Hangman Page got a rocket strap to his back. He made John Moxley tap out. Ricky Starks, he beat Chris Jericho for a second time. Only a handful of people is on that list of people that have beaten Chris Jericho twice. Put the rocket straps to his back. The Guns are still your tag team champions. Jamie Hayter is still our women's tag team champion. So what's next for AEW? I think AEW right now is in a good spot. It's in a good place right now. I am not going to lie. I mean, over the past couple weeks, I kind of had my doubts. You know, a lot of people were comparing the Roman Reigns, you know, title reign, the Bloodline storyline to every other storyline that's going on in wrestling. That's not really a fair assessment. I mean, that storyline is long-term storytelling, and I feel like AEW is getting there, and it will get there, and I'm not mad at it any otherwise. So I hope you guys like the show, man. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel, and we will be doing post shows for other pay-per-views as well. Now, I will say ahead of time, the next pay-per-view is WrestleMania, and I want to say Ring of Honor pay-per-view is in April as well. Now, I'm unable to actually do a post show on WrestleMania, considering I will be in a totally different location, away from my studio, away from my equipment and everything. But I definitely will do a WrestleMania review the following day from that weekend. So that Saturday and Sunday, we're going to watch WrestleMania, and then on Monday, we're definitely going to go over some of the marquee matches, some of the marquee moments that happen in WrestleMania, because there will be marquee moments, and definitely go over the Ring of Honor pay-per-view as well. Now, Ring of Honor is back, and all you got to do is go into the Honor Club, sign up for the Honor Club so you can watch its episodic show. Thank you, Tony Khan, for that. But leave leave messages in the comments below about how much you like AEW, or if you disliked the pay-per-view. I'm interested in your thoughts, what you didn't like about the pay-per-view, because it's not, we just boosting up the wrestling show. But if you disagree with any of the matches and you didn't like any of the matches, go ahead and sound off in the comments below. CM says last Rampage and Dynamite were disappointing, but this pay-per-view was awesome. I agree. Go ahead and like and subscribe and leave comments below on this live show. I will be more than happy to answer the reply through these comments below. So, I hope you guys have a safe night. I hope you guys enjoyed the show.